bigger gathering today?
Yeah, where's everyone coming from? Introduce yourself.
Keep winning.
The hinterlands.
Coach, obviously, I know before we left, we talked about just the preparation with the back-to-backs, the 4 straight. Did you feel the team went through it mentally and physically there?
Yeah, we went, a challenge in our schedule there, where every team's dealing with it. But, I thought, what was it, 8? So five wins, I think it was.
Yeah.
Is that right? So I did some good things, and I think we'd probably take that. And then looking back, there was probably some games we probably could have got some points in. So that was the frustrating part. But we're going to move forward. Got a few days here, and then a team coming in that's going to have some desperation there, and we got to match that.
I know you talked to Sheng on the trip about Kiefer Sherwood, but you flew in today. I don't know if you had a chance to get to know him a little bit. What have your impressions been in talking with him, if you have?
Yeah, we met yesterday, so we're excited to add him to the group. I think he's a guy that brings a competitive nature about himself. Obviously, excuse me, can see him skate. He can shoot it. We've seen him here, quite often in the games, really impact the games and the games we've played in a lot of different ways. And again, I think the competitive spirit that he plays with is something that we want. And again, we're excited to add him to the group.
His identity, scoring goals, hitting, but he's got that work ethic, the late bloom. As Vinny Darnay was like, is he a Ryan Warsofsky type player? He said, yeah, he is. What about his game do you feel like, maybe not just scenario this goal scoring or hitting, but what about his game? Is there finer detail that you see that really would fit in with something that you want to build here?
I think the pace that he plays with, he can skate, he can get on pucks, he plays with a tenacity to win pucks. All the things that you really look for, the competitiveness that he plays with is something that really has jumped out to us when we've watched him. Talked about him being a guy that we could potentially add to the group. So, and you can just see he's excited. He's excited. He wants to get going with the group, and there's a real. He's got some fire in his belly. So you like that.
It's a little different to have a trade to bring some guy in and this year than rather than last year. Feel a little better.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 years now. We haven't really added as far as a piece like this. So, obviously Mike did a great job and sees we got something going here. And again, this doesn't mean that we're going to move everything and go into big buyers. I'm going to let Mike talk about that. But just to add this type of player, even just now and hopefully long term. We think that's the identity that we want to play with.
Yaroslav has played with him before, and he said that he's a rat. And so just how excited are you to add that kind of element to your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had Rick Bowness say you need nasty. And you look around the league, the team that wins the Stanley Cup will play with nasty, and they'll play with jam. And you need the more types of players of those that you have, the rest guys, you get guys to drag into the fight. So I think he brings that nasty. Any
update on him in terms of will you be available to play before the Olympics or just status?
Day to day, won't play tomorrow, and we'll kind of reevaluate as the days go on here. But we're pretty optimistic that we'll play him. We'll get him to play games before the break.
Brian, how have you seen Macklin handle all the attention that he's getting that seems to grow with every passing day?
Yeah, he's impressive. With everything from the outside, from media to getting pre-scouted heavily against teams as being a target. That's the next evolution of his game, but he does a really good job of ignoring the noise, staying day to day, being where his feet are, and he's got a great routine for a young player, which is impressive as far as he takes care of his body. To get ready for practice, gets ready for games, just the grueling schedule. He's well advanced beyond his years, so he's handled it really well.
What do you think the Olympic experience is going to be like for him? And there used to be this tension between teams. Oh my God, we don't want our guys to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
They could get hurt. Anything bad could happen. But what do you think it's going to be like when he comes back?
Be a great experience for him. Hopefully we're a team that can get into the playoffs, and when he plays in the Olympics, that will be pretty much playoff hockey. That will be game sevens. So it's a great experience for him to play in that type of atmosphere. And I think it's important. I think it's good to get that type of experience. And, hopefully he does a good job when they're not playing the U.S.
Coach, what have you kind of noticed and taken in about the energy in the Bay Area building around this team in this season?
Yeah, you can certainly feel it. Even just walking around my neighborhoods and in the city, you can feel the community, the energy in the buildings. And some of our games here in the last month has really risen, and our guys can feel it and feed off of it. But you're seeing a lot more Sharks colors flying around the Bay, and I think that's starting to come back. Like I said, it's not totally there yet. We're not a perfect team. We still have a lot to work on. But our guys are starting to understand what it feels like, and when people notice, and we can kind of jump on that energy.
Coach, what's the biggest difference between young players in the game today and young players about a decade ago, or seasons beyond that?
I would say a decade ago, when a guy was coming up, growing up through youth hockey in college or junior, they learned how to play the game, the hockey sense aspect of it. Now it's kind of flipped, where at this day and age, a player that's coming up is working on their skills, their shooting, their skating. They have skill coaches, they have shooting coaches. 15 years ago, that was not the case. So it's kind of flipped in a sense, where hockey sense was taught early and skills was taught late, and now it's hockey sense is taught late. So it's more harder on the coaches, I'd say that. But I think that's just the evolution of where the player has come.
Do you see more confidence in a younger player now than?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
There's some swagger behind it, and there's a line of this cockiness that they have with them, and I think that's good. I think that's very valuable for a young player. That you see that with our guys is like, even though they struggle, they know they're going to figure it out, and I think we see that with some of our guys, and I think that's important. You got to have some confidence about who you are as a player, and I think that can only help push you to be better and challenge you. So there's a fine line to it, but I think the guys that we have in particular do a really good job of kind of riding that line.
Is there? Go ahead.
Matt was just in here talking about some of the influences who he'll get to play with on Team Canada, but he also grew up kind of around Steph Curry and Draymond Green.
Yeah.
What do you think being around those NBA all-star caliber athletes did for him and maybe his swagger?
Yeah, I think it's been so important for him. I think learning from other people in other sports is so valuable. It's the same thing with coaching. We can talk and watch a lot of hockey, but to go sit down with other coaches of other sports, and now Mac has Steph and Draymond, and you've seen Draymond talk about him in the media, and you see. There was a clip, I think last year, we're talking about Draymond, and I don't remember exactly the scenario, about a new player, of getting him up to speed in the culture of how the Golden State Warriors play. That is extremely valuable. We showed that clip to our team because they've been there. They've know what it looks like, what winning looks like, and we're trying to take those experiences as well. And I think Mac is kind of who he is just because he's been around those guys. And obviously his parents did an unbelievable job raising him, but being around great players and great competitors just burns more fire in you to be like them. So I think he's been very valuable for him.
Is there a benefit to him? You were just talking about like the Sharks are starting to get popular, but it's not like you have 100 media here every day. Is there a kind of to be a budding superstar in maybe a more low-key environment than if he was, say, in Toronto or something?
Yeah.
Do you think that's beneficial to his development?
Yeah, there could be a little bit of that for sure. He's not looking over his shoulder when he's walking down the street. There's a little freedom there, So, again, he handles it extremely well. I got to give him a lot of credit. Or if he doesn't handle it well, he covers it up pretty good.
Obviously, a little more, I guess, tactile stuff. How's Philip doing? Obviously, joined you there at the end of the trip, and then Shakir was on the ice today.
Yeah, both skated. Obviously I did Sherwood, so I'd say Chevy's getting closer. Probably not an option early in the trip, but maybe later in the trip.
And then Shakir.
Yeah, he's good. He's getting better. We think he's in the day-to-day category now.
With the Kurashev, is there any concern that obviously there's a team concern here, but with Switzerland that he won't be ready to play, or is that
No, I still think we're on the right timeline of he'll be ready to go.
Both guys can play before the break. You're pretty confident that.
What's that? Both guys? Yeah, we're pretty confident.
Okay.
When you look at Kurashev and you look at Chernyshov and Regenda, where when he comes back in, you see what he's done. Where would you like to see him fit in and benefit most? Where would he
Chevy?
naturally? Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's got he can play center, so maybe we move him to the middle at some point. But we'll see. We're still a little ways away from there.
And then just with Nick Leddy being waived, I mean, that's a veteran you guys brought in, had some trouble staying in the lineup. What was the message to him? And obviously a guy like that, he's earned the respect to maybe say, hey, I want to be a free agent, go somewhere, but he decides to go down and work down there as well.
Yeah, he was true pro in every sense of the word. Wasn't the circumstances here were tough, and with the 9 defensemen at some point, it was, and some young guys that were trying to develop, so it's a tough one for him. But he was a true pro in every sense of the word. Worked hard. Was here early. We just did everything we asked. Great attitude about it. So, things change quickly. So he'll go down and we'll go from there.
Is he going to play for them?
I'm not sure exactly what the plan is yet.
With Vinny Darnay coming back in, I mean, that's Sam Dixon called him the pillar of stability. I don't know if that was a joke on just how big he was, but did you feel his presence? Not even just necessarily, just like he seems to have a really good vibe with the room, and guys like him, and they want to interact with him a lot. Did you feel that as he got into the lineup?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's obviously a big man that's bigger than a lot of other pretty much everyone. So, but he brings a different level of, the skill set as far as physical play and the compete and the length that he has to play with. So, I knew when I talked to him before that game, he had a certain level of locked-in mentality. He was ready. He was excited. He's been out for a while, so I thought that Florida's was probably the best game he's played in a Shark uniform.
When you look at just him and Dickinson, that pair have been together in the locker room on the ice. Vinny said that Sam helped him a lot that game. Do you see Sam play with a little extra confidence when he's with Vinny out there?
Yeah, Vinny communicates. Come down to communication and helping a young defenseman. So I think I give a lot of credit to Vinny helping him along the way here.
Do you kind of have a general idea of where you want to play Sherwood when he gets healthy? Is the top line a possibility at all?
I have a good idea.
Would you like to share your good ideas?
When he's ready, I'll tell you.
But he's a guy you feel pretty confident he can play up and down.
Yeah, I think he played. He's going to impact the game a lot of different ways. He can play up and down your lineup, special teams. So again, I think he's going to be a good fit.
Okay.
Good.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.